Okay, well, hello my crocheting friends. I know it's been 2 months since my last video. I'm gonna have to say I'm sorry and then leave it at that because I don't want to talk about it. So for today, it is what, February 7th, and it's a Wednesday, I want to say. I'm sitting in front of my cabinet. Okay, this cabinet here holds all of my variegated yarn. Like when I went through my yarn purge last year and the stuff that I wanted to save, I pulled all the variegated yarns out and I put them here in this cabinet. And I gotta tell you, when I'm sitting on the other side of the room, this cabinet, when I glance at it or look at it, it just makes me happy. All that color, because I like lots of color when I crochet. I get very bored using one color back and forth. I get so bored. Anyway, so this is my cabinet, and I need to go through this cabinet today because I'm looking for something, okay? What I want to do is I want to make another patchwork squares blanket. Okay, my patchwork squares. I did do a video on this very early on in my channel, okay? Oh, I celebrated 2 years old on YouTube with this channel, okay? On January 22nd? January 20th. One of those. I started my channel in 2022, so now it's 2024 and I'm 2 years old, okay? So there is a video for this blanket from 2 years ago. These squares I started making in 2011 and 2012, and I didn't put them together into a blanket till 2021 or 2022. So they sat for 10 years before I put them into a blanket. And they are leftovers from other projects, from my own projects, from my mom's projects. My mom donated a lot of her scraps of variegated yarn. So I was going to sell this blanket, but I realize now I don't want to. It has too much emotion attached to it for me. So I'm glad that I haven't listed it, that I want to keep it. I put a lot of work into this, and I don't know, it makes me really happy. So I want to make another one. The pattern for my squares, it was just a random thing. I was trying to make my squares 3 inches. Okay, so it didn't matter if I used a single crochet or a half double or a double crochet in American terms. I just needed it to be 3 inches, but I couldn't quite get it square. So it's actually a little bit, I think it's like 3 1/4 inches tall and just 3 inches wide. So it's almost square. It's a little bit more rectangular, but I worked really hard on getting the numbers just right. It is a half double crochet. I chain 15, working that second chain from the hook, so I've got 13 stitches across and 9 rows. All right, so for 10 years I've been working on this square. I've got it memorized, but I do have it written down on a scrap piece of paper somewhere, but I have no idea where. I'm hoping it's in this cabinet because I also use one specific hook for it. My hook size is an E, which I don't know what the millimeters are off the top of my head. Hopefully I can put it down in the description box. But while I have multiple sizes of the E, I have multiple hooks. There's this one particular hook I use for this square, and I cannot find my hook, and it is driving me crazy. It's just right there in my head. So I'm hoping that when I go through this cabinet, I can find my notes and my hook. So if it's not in this cabinet, hopefully it'll be in a bin that I've been putting all my notes in. I don't know. You guys know I'm very disorganized with the crocheting. It's all over my house. I'm still in the process of trying to organize it a year after I purged. But anyway, so how are you guys doing? We're gonna just chat while I go through this cabinet. Can y'all see it okay? I'm gonna turn you a little bit. I want you to be able to see all this yarny goodness the same way I see it. Oh, how's that? I'm working on this side right here. And excuse the sniffles. It's allergy season has started early for me this year. Look how pretty that is. This is Bernat Softy Baby Colors. I think it's feels like a cotton blend. I don't know. It says it's a 100% acrylic, but this will not go into my blanket because it just won't have the right vibe. I don't know. I have possibilities in here. Some red heart gumdrop, right? I don't even know if they make this anymore. I got a little red heart mini that's in Halloween colors. Is that focused? I'm hoping that's in focus. Just a random ball of rolled up yarn. I'm trying to get to the squares I've already made that I started making about 2 years ago. So I already have a nice stack of squares already made. Look at that. How many are in there? That's a lot. I was working on it steady, you know, about 2 years ago before I decided to do my yarn purge. I was working on this pretty steady. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, let's see. This bottom color right here, I've got 12 of those. See? Isn't it the perfect little square to be patchwork, right? There's 12 of those. There's 7 of this color. I've got 5 of this, and it gave me 5 completely different looking squares. It's gray and pink and white, and then it went into the pink and white, and then the pink white mixed together, right? Into a gray with white, and the gray and white marled in there to this one. So I've got 5 completely different squares from the same yarn. So that puts us up to 19, 20, 24. So here's 9 more. That puts us at what, 33 in this color. Two of these, which puts us at 35. I've got 3 of this color, and I love this color. So that's what, 38. Only 1 of this color at 39. 1 of this color is number 40. And 2 of these, that's 42 in that pile, right? Which I have another stack of squares. Yeah, I've been working steadily on it. This is the one I use to make sure that I'm engaged with all the other squares that I make to make sure it's the right size. This is the one I use to measure everything else. There's this color here. And I'm using, it's funny, but I am using a number 4 medium worsted weight yarn. And here's the next color. But I do have them separated. Oh, is this all the same color? No, okay. Those are 2 different ones. I got some tans and browns. And then I got tans, browns with some black mixed in. A whole stack of those. So while this is a number 4 medium worsted weight, and it's 100% acrylic, it's this scratchy acrylic, okay? And then this batch here, like with the pink and gray, this is still number 4, still 100% acrylic, but the soft satiny acrylic. So I'm keeping them separated because I think I want one blanket to be soft and satiny, and I think another one to be scratchy, like traditional acrylic, right? I don't know, is that crazy? I don't know. All I know is I'm ready to get back to making some squares to make another blanket. Yeah, okay, there's some more of those. So there's, I think this was in my other pile, my satiny colors. Yeah. I've got 1 of this color. 2, 3, 4. I've got 4 of this color. And this is just whatever the leftover ball of yarn will give me. I just keep making them until I run out of yarn. 2, 3, 4. There's 6 of this color. Can I tell you the names of all the yarns? No, because it's so many different companies. It'll be Red Heart Super Saver. It'll be Karen 1 pound. It will be Bernat Super Value, store brands, cheap stuff. It's all different kinds of yarn. It's just, it's all the same weight. I've got 4 of this color. And 4, 5, 6 of this color. I like this one. These came out almost the same because of where the color had changed. They're all practically the same. It's so weird. Okay, I think that was the last stack I have in there. So what I'm doing is I'm actually looking underneath of all the yarn that I have in here, and I'm looking for, should be a baggie that has notes in it, and my crochet hook. Yeah, see, this is called Fashion Yarn. It had come from AC Moore. It was a craft store before it closed down. So I got some of this. It's just random yarns. I got some Hirschner's worsted yarn. Leftovers from projects. That's what that is. I think this is, actually, I don't even know what that is. I can't even guess. Alright, so there's no hook and no notes up there. Alright, let's try this shelf. This is Bernat Baby Sport. So this is a number 3. It's DK weight. So I won't be using this in this blanket. Of course, it would be used in another Patchwork Squares blanket that was with DK weight yarn. Got this color here, right? This one, I made a square out of that already. But see, I even have little scraps left over like this, right? And this color, oh, I love this color. I've had this for years. Made a blanket out of this. This is from Michaels. They're loops and threads, impeccable, and the color is called Holland, so it's supposed to look like tulips. It's got pinks and greens and whites. It's really pretty. I don't think my camera is doing it justice. So I sat down the other day. I made a square. This one actually came out a little too big. I got to tighten up my stitches a little bit. And yeah, it is a size E for my crochet hook, but this is not the one I use. I really have to, because it's special. It was my grandma's hook, and it's curved and it's bent, and it's just perfect for what I'm doing, and I cannot find it. So I will write down the square because I want you guys to work on a blanket with me. It's going to take all year. I want to take all year from February to October, November, and then we can be done making the squares and then stitch them together into a blanket. See, I got this random color. I got 2 balls of this. I think this came from my mom. And this Caron Jumbo. What color is that? Easter basket. Alright, so this is just all yarn here. That's all Red Heart Super Saver in a lot. I've been collecting their variegated colors for years. And I think that's what all this is on the bottom too. Alright, so my hook is not in there. And neither are my notes. Okay. So we'll close this side up, go check the other side. I had to find a cabinet in my house where I could put all these squares away, because I have cats that like to eat yarn. Now, I've never had any cats that have done this before, but my 2 new ones that have been here since 2020, they eat yarn. My other cats have never done that. So all my yarn tails from the beginning of the square and the end of the square, they were chewing on them. So I needed something where I could close the door and keep it away from the cats. And then I found out that all my variegated yarn fits in there, and it's also pretty. Oh, right. Put those back in there. All right. So my cabinet, where did I get that from? IKEA. Where I get all my shelves and my cabinets from IKEA. Let's see what we've got on this side. You guys see that okay? I think this is just yarn that hasn't been used yet. Oh yeah. This is Lion Brand, their ice cream yarn. Is it called? Yeah, I think it's their ice cream line. Some of it I haven't used. Some of it I did use and then ripped it out because I didn't like the project that I had used it on. So I put it all in here, wondering if it would make a really good patchwork squares blanket. So, all right, so there's no hook in there. All right. Okay, so I'm hoping this shelf will give me some notes or a hook. It's got a whole bunch of random balls of yarn. And then this, I had found this color. Oh, this is an old school color. It's called Holly and Ivy from Red Heart Super Saver. And I had found this at my local thrift store. So even when I find things at the thrift store, I buy them and put them here in my cabinet. Then I got this. This wound up a tangled mess. I have to untangle it. Which it seems to be stuck on something. Ah. And then this baggie has little bits that were left over that actually are not big enough to make my square. So I'm thinking about doing, what do they call that? A magic ball of yarn where you take all your little bits like this and then either use a Russian join or other kind of like a square knot and tie them all together to make this big giant magic ball of yarn. So when I get to that, of course, we'll do a video for that, okay? And yeah, these little bits here, I think came from my mom. Yeah, these were more little bits that didn't quite make it into a square because it wasn't enough. Leftovers from another project. My hook's not in there. And then you see, I've just been collecting more and more. So if you guys have any variegated yarn, I mean, you can use solid colored yarn and still make a patchwork squares blanket. You know, it's just, it's to use up your leftovers and to do something creative and fun with it, because I love lots of color. So I've been saving everything. Now I know some of these are probably not big enough to make a square, but I'll stick them in the baggie. I won't know if they're big enough until I go to sit down, because I don't actually know how much yardage I use for each individual square. Or maybe we can do that. Maybe we can sit down and make a square and figure out the yardage. Okay, so nope, more leftovers in there. Some other projects. Yarn labels. Alright, so my hook is not in there. Or my notes. So there is one other place I can look, and that's in that bin that I have that I've been putting every set of notes that I come across and all my random hooks and the bits and bobs that I've been trying to organize. I have another bin, so let me go check there. Oh, I know. I'm just playing with yarn today. I don't know what you guys are doing, but I'm just playing with yarn. Even all tangled up yarn makes me stupid, crazy happy. Oh, I think I've tried. Oh yeah, I started. There's my chain in my first row with this, but then I got tangled and I couldn't get any further. Thank you to my kitty cats. All right. And I know that my hook is not here. I checked here too. And this is more ice cream yarn from Lion Brand. I had it in another project and I had frogged it. So this is the yarn down here. I had used a ball winder and my hook is not in there. All right, so until I go pull out my bin that might have my notes in it. I was out at my thrift store recently and I was at Salvation Army and I found some more variegated yarn. It's from Red Heart. They're probably called their pink camo. Yeah, pink camo. It was already partially used, which is fine. They were asking $2 for it. I bought it, brought it home because it would fit perfectly in here with everything I have. I also found a ball of Loops and Threads Impeccable in their Arbor Rose, which is one of my favorite shades of pink. I found that, bought that and brought it home. And back in January, because I wanted to do a video celebrating my 2 years on YouTube, I went to Joann's, my craft store, to buy some yarn to celebrate, and then I never did the video because things. All right, so here I bought some brown for a Christmas tree skirt that I've been working on, and I ran out. I needed some more, so I got some brown. But I knew I wanted to take a look and see what kind of variegated colors they had. And this is from their Big Twist line of yarn. Big Twist value. It has 269 yards, 4.3 ounces, 246 meters, 121 grams for each ball. Okay. It says Big Twist value. It is a number 4 medium weight, worsted weight, Aran weight. And its color is called Retro Pop. And yeah, to me, it definitely has a retro feel. These are more muted pastels with the blues, the greens, the oranges, the pinks. Because that yellow is, it's kind of like it got a gold color in there. My camera focus on that. Yeah, that's some good colors. It does have a little bit of a 70s vibe to it. So I bought 2 of them. The thing is, I want to give one of them away to you guys, because what I want to do is I want to take all this yarn that I have, because I have full skeins of variegated yarn. Like this from Red Heart, it's called Reef. I have 6 of these. I have a lot of variegated yarn, and what I want to do is I want to put together a box, and for where I have a lot of full skeins, I will give away a full skein, and where I don't, I'll just wrap some of it up into a ball, and I want to put a box together and give it away to one of you guys, so you can make a blanket with me with the same colors I have. That'd be nice, right? So I had gone out yarn shopping so I could do that, and I haven't done it yet. And then I found this, because I am trying to curb my shopping with yarn. I give myself guidelines when I am in the craft store. If I find something that I like, I'll take a picture of it and I'll leave it there, okay? If I find that I'm drawn to it the second time I'm in the store, which could be weeks later or months later, or the third time I'm in the store, then if I'm still drawn to it and I still like it and it still puts that smile on my face, then I will buy it, okay? So this is from Karen Simply Soft, and it's speckled, okay? I just, yeah, it turns out it was something that it was speaking to me every time I walked by it when I was in the store. And they call it vintage color, which, yeah, it turns out I'm I'm falling for the retro vintage colors from the 70s, okay? Maybe because I was born in the 70s. Do I know what I'm doing with this? No. Am I going to be putting it into a patchwork squares blanket? Probably. Probably. And I think it's going to be a very vintage inspired blanket. So that's what I had gotten to celebrate my 2 years of being on YouTube. This is for me because I love it so much. That's my house phone. Hold on a second. Okay, and then I have the brown for a Christmas tree skirt that I'm going to be working on the tree skirt throughout the year. And then I have these two variegated. One I want to keep, one I want to give away, and I do want to put a box together. So I need to charge my battery. While I do that, I will dig out my bin that I've been collecting all my notes and my random hooks in and see if I can find my notes for this. Okay, and I will catch up with you guys later. Okay, my crochet friends, in all my infinite wisdom, there's my shelf full of yarn. You see the gaps right there? It's because I've been using the yarn in my yarn stash, right? I had bins there, but my one cat likes to sleep there, so I left it empty for him. So some of the bins are down here, right? Christmas lights that need to be put away. Now the bin that I need, right, that has my notes in it and has my hooks in it that I've been gathering, is way down there on the bottom. So in order to get to it, I gotta go through all the extras that has spilled out into the living room. Blankets in there, blanket in there, yarn projects. Oh, that's our crochet along that we just finished of the spider stitch blanket. I gotta get all the way in the back there, so wish me luck. Okay, I was wrong. It's not this bin I need. It's this bin that I need, which is a heck of a lot easier to get to than that one. Oh my goodness. I am so disorganized, my friends. And I'm looking in there and I can actually see some variegated yarn in there that I should take out and add to my shelf. But I don't know, my cabinet's pretty full. So let me grab that one and we're going to take a look and see what's... Okay, my friends. So I'm using my backup camera, which the sound will be different and the picture will be different. But this is my bin. It holds leftovers. It holds notes. It'll have hooks, yarn labels. I've got notes down there. So I'm gonna dig through this and see what I can find. In the meantime, I'm going to sit you guys on a pile of books. How's that? All right. Why do I have so many yarn labels? Because I write notes on those too. Alright, I'm going to turn the camera off and keep digging and see if I can find what I'm looking for. I found my notes, my original notes. Still can't find my hook, so it must be with a project somewhere. But down in the bottom of this bin, I found this notebook here, and it has all my original notes, plus a new set of nicely printed notes for you guys that I never actually gave you when I did the video. Oh my god, I'm so disorganized. I found my notes. Okay. Did I find my special hook? No. And I think it's because I changed from when I first did the squares in 2011, 2012. I was using the E that is curved, that is from my grandma. But I think it was probably giving me problems in my hand. My hand can cramp up using smaller hooks. So I think when I did these squares back in 2022, I think I moved to the size F for a hook, okay? And it's only because when I found my original notes, which were in here, in this pink binder, I found, oh, this is crazy, you guys. Hold on a second. I found my original set of notes that I wrote in 2012. Now, it's so faded. Okay, and clearly says on there that I used the F hook and not the E. So I don't know why I keep getting it confused with my grandmom's hook versus the F that I've been using. So clearly it says patchwork variegated F hook, 3 inches by 3 inches, chain 15, second chain from the hook, 9 rows, chain 2, half double crochet, total number 108. That means I made 108 squares. But that's all I wrote down. And then at some point, because I couldn't remember what I had done, I actually wrote down another set of directions. This would have been 2012, 2013, because at the time I probably couldn't find this. I'm so disorganized. I put things down and I swear I'm gonna remember exactly where I put them. But creative types, you know how we are. We don't have room in our brains for all that stuff. So what I had done was, when I had done this video in February of 2022, I sat down in March of 2022 and I rewrote everything nice and neat and put it in this binder. Okay? I'm going to show that to you. And there's little notes here to myself that lets me know I have pictures on my laptop from 2012 and from 2020. Here's my really nice printed set of notes. Working out the kinks because the count is actually 13 stitches across, not 14. And notes to myself, okay? But I worked it all out. I wrote it out nice and neat. So the F is a 3.75 millimeter. Yarn weight is a number 4, medium weight, worsted weight, Aran weight. We all call it something a little different depending on where you live. It says that the squares are 3 inches by 3 inches, but they actually are not. They are 3¼ inches wide by 3½ inches tall. So not exactly square, but I worked really hard on getting them as square as possible. And then what I did, this was for the blanket that I had made. I had made some more squares and I came out to 132 and I did it 12 by 11 when I did rows and columns, and I drew it all out. Look how nice and neat that is. So for this one that I want to start in 2024, I want to make it bigger. So it will definitely be more than 132 squares. All right. Do I know how big I want to make it? I don't know. Because like this one is more of a lap size blanket. or a throw size blanket. It's not a twin or a full or a queen or a king. So I do want to make it bigger. Do I want to make it as big as a king? I don't know. I think it would look fantastic in a king size, on a king size bed. I think it would look fantastic that way. So I'm still undecided about the size. I think maybe it will, my yarn stash will determine how big I plan on making this blanket. Okay. So I do have all my notes. And it turns out I've been using the F, which was, what did I say, a 3.75. And then I grabbed, it's an old school hook. It's probably my mom's or my grandmom's, right? And I started working up just a little square, just like 5 minutes ago. Okay. It is chain 15, second chain from the hook, do a half double crochet. And then do a half double crochet in each chain across. And gives you 13 stitches. Chain 2, work in your first stitch all the way to the end of half double crochets and do 9 rows. Okay, I will do a video on this and work through all the numbers with you. This is just a hi, hello, how are you, and I missed you guys, and this is what I'm doing kind of video. So here we go. See, 1. So I am working. See, my hands don't want to work. I haven't touched a hook in 2 months. And size-wise, with this one, make 1 square, use it as your gauge and your swatch to make sure everything else comes out the same size. And I can see that this one is actually just a little bit bigger than this square here, which is fine. It's not too much bigger. Just, you know, if I block this one and pull it out, they'd be the same size. Okay, see the difference there? Yeah, I pulled it out, right? So, it's the same size. So that's where my mind's at. I am obsessively thinking about patchwork squares because I want to make another blanket. And these squares, they take me 8, 9, 10 minutes depending on, you know, my mood. And I can do 2 or 3 or 4 in a row before I don't feel like working on it. And then I put them away. And I need something to work on right now. Winter is hard. December, January are hard. Thankfully, February's been a little bit more sunnier than January was, because people who suffer from depression, we definitely need a lot of sunlight in the winter. And that, you know, it's winter up here in the northern hemisphere. So I need something to work on, and I'm going to be working on some squares. Today is Wednesday. I will come back to you guys hopefully on Sunday, and I will give you the full directions on making a square, okay? And we'll go from there. Just one day at a time. I got to do one day at a time and not too far in advance. I have missed you guys. I have missed doing videos, but I definitely needed a break. So I don't know how to end this video other than to say I missed you and I'm hoping to get back into things, and I will see you later. Yeah. All right. Bye, guys.